room
Mm-hmm.
and say, look, ma'am, you have a football team that is dying for a championship. You have a city that you owe it to provide a championship team. Until that happens, nothing's changing.
And nothing will ever change. I mean, the Niners had to learn that lesson with Jed York.
Yeah.
Jed York was both the president and the manager of football operations. Jed York kicked himself out of football operations, and now look where they are.
And
he was president and GM. I beg your pardon. Now you bring in John Lynch as your GM, who brings in Kyle Shanahan. The rest is history.
And the same thing won't change in Dallas either. Until
hell no, it won't change.
Until they come to the exact same understanding.
But this is Virginia McCaskey we're talking about.
Exactly. She
ain't giving that up.
She doesn't care. She does not care.
No, she doesn't care. It's like Carolina. It's like Dallas. Carolina, Dallas, and Chicago share two common denominators. An owner that doesn't know a doggone thing, and an owner that doesn't want to put football people in football executive positions.
Mm-hmm. Or I put it this way, they have owners that don't know about football and don't care to know about football.
And I'll go down to Carolina because we may get a visit from Jay Spivey later on.
Okay.
David Tepper only has money. Jerry Richardson had football knowledge. Jed York had some football knowledge. Don't get it twisted. He did. But now all he has to do is just lean back and sign the checks.
Yep.
John Lynch, you're my GM. Get it done. Kyle Shanahan, you're my coach. Get it done. I'm out of the way.
Exactly. And that's what needs to happen.
And as soon as the Bears realize that Virginia McCaskey needs to get the ever-loving hell out of the way, nothing will change, and there will never in life be a repeat of 1985. Ever.
And that's not happening because no one's going to tell sweet little Virginia that she needs to get out of the way. They're going to let her have her tea because it's like her favorite little show pony, her favorite little toy that she can go parade around at tea parties. That's what it is. And until that happens, guess who suffers? Chicago Bears fans.
Mm-hmm. And the team because there's no confidence.
Yep. And unfortunately, to the point where the Bears fans kind of deserve this because they are now blindly following the leader.
Mm-hmm. Wherever they may go.
Yep.
And they're in the toilet right now. And they're planning to move
to where? To where?
Apparently Arlington Heights.
Who cares? They'll still be known as Chicago Bears.
Mm-hmm. But I think that pipe dream is dead.
Especially now.
That pipe dream is dead. Whoever designed the current Soldier Field to keep the columns was plain stupid. I mean, you got the techno. I changed my mind. They don't have the technology there. We were there on September 2nd.
Exactly.
Couldn't see the scoreboard for nothing from our vantage point.
Couldn't get the door open for 2.5 hours.
Couldn't get the door open. My wife nearly passed out. And then the people that were looking at me and my wife as I tended to her before we went upstairs.
It's just foolish, man.
Soldier Field is about as raggedy as Wrigley Field.
Well, again,
and the Bears are just as I'm looking in this camera and I want y'all to listen to me carefully. The Bears as an organization are just as foolish as the Dallas Cowboys and just as foolish as the Carolina Panthers. And if you want to throw an NBA angle, just as foolish as the Los Angeles Lakers.
I will say the Bears are as foolish as the Cowboys. I won't say they're as foolish as the Panthers, only because I don't think the Panthers know they're trash. They just no longer care anymore. I think the Panthers know that they are garbage. They just don't care. They are done caring for this year. They got the number one pick.
And they're talking about getting rid of Frank Reich.
They got the number one pick, got one of the most sought after quarterbacks, and have done what with him?
Not a damn thing.
Meanwhile, Houston got the second one.
And look where they are.
Exactly.
And look where they are.
The Bears and the Cowboys think that they can contend. The Panthers know they cannot.
Sad state of affairs in some organizations. Let's take a break. When y'all get back, the 49ers have extended their lead over the Seahawks to essentially 3 games. Well, you can't.
Whether you are a professional football champion or a fantasy football champion, Martusio Chiropractic is the place to recover from all your sports injuries. Proudly serving Trumbull County, Martusio Chiropractic is located at 369 Niles Cortland Road in Warren. Martusio Chiropractic accepts most insurance plans, now accepting new patients and offering some same-day appointments. For more information or to make an appointment, call Martusio Chiropractic at 330-856-9595.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities.
It's that time again when all we want to talk about is football. High school, college, and pro football. There's one man set to bring it all to you. It's time for Just Football with Matt Emch. Matt was a first-time AP, all-offensive lineman with the Ursuline Irish, and 3-time national champion with Youngstown State. And now, here's Matt.
And welcome to Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emch. Very nice to be back. Been a crazy couple weeks, and already is starting out to be a crazy day. But all we are is about football here, and sometimes some hockey. So that little tease means that my partner for the high school football season and soon to be coming up, one of my partners for the semi-pro season, as well as we signed the Mahoning Valley Federals for a semi-pro season. Matt Lipsack is who I was referring to, the voice of the Youngstown Phantoms. He is my high school football play-by-play partner. I do color. And then Mark Means, who is my other partner sometimes for high school. Matt is my normal one. Mark pops in when he can and fills in. He will be here in about a minute or two. He will also be helping me occasionally on the semi-pro season. And if Matthew Lipsack cannot help me in the high school, Mark will jump in, I'm sure, as well. So not only will those two be here today, Coach Bob Gessler will be here. The coach, as everyone knows him around. He will be here today. So it's going to be a good show. We've got a lot going on. Something that I am obviously very passionate about is high school football. That is what we're going to address when Mr. Means gives us a call here in a minute. and I'm looking forward to it. Can you believe, and I'm going to repeat this, I'm just saying this to all of you, can you believe that high school football is actually getting spoken about right now, and it's just around the corner? I can't, but as I was always taught coming up through learning how to call games as a color commentator, it is the fastest 10 weeks in sports. And as I mentioned his name, Mr. Mark Means is on the line. Hello, sir. How are you?
And when you say the fastest 10 weeks in sports, I know exactly what you were talking about.
That's right. You do. And it's something you've done for how long now, Mark?
I don't know. It feels like it's been forever, honestly. Probably close to 20 years by now.
Wow. That's incredible. You are just a machine. And I enjoyed getting my first shot, for a long time. I have, as I move my chair, been trying to get to do high school football with you. And this past season, we did just that. So I highly enjoyed it. Now, speaking of said high school football, you have a little something for us that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, I have about 26 schedules. I'm still missing about 3 more that I'm looking at, but it's getting to that time of the year where I'm starting to put the Western Reserve 2 Sports Radio 1240 high school football schedule together. And there's some interesting ones to take a look at this year. And the one that jumps out to me is South Range, Matt. Mm-hmm. They have 6 straight games to begin the year at home at their beautiful new facility before they finish up with the last 4 on the road. They're going to play their senior game September 27th because it's their last regular season home game.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, they open up Springfield, Salem, Barberton, Lakeview, Struthers, and Poland all at home before finishing with road trips to Girard, Niles, Louisville, and they always end the season this time on the road at Hubbard. So 6-4 is a great schedule, but it is literally a 6-4. 6 straight to begin the year at home, 4 on the road to finish the season off.
It's going to be exciting to see how they do. Obviously, they are without legendary Coach Yeagley. Last year was the first season without him in a long time, and they did well. Not what they were hoping for. They were hoping for a repeat. What do you think that we might be seeing this year?
It's one of those where that's just a team you talk about. It doesn't matter. Head coach changes. They just plug in and keep going. I believe the quarterback was a junior last year. They had a couple of, younger running backs. So Dominguez, he'll be back at the tailback spot again for them this fall. So, you expect, 8 to 10 wins in the regular season and a deep playoff run from South Range every year.
Yeah, you definitely have that small, little short list to your right normally, or it could be to your left. I do of, those teams that you expect year in, year out in the playoffs, having a good year. It's just always the question of how far are they going to go? So South Range is definitely one of them. And then that special game you spoke about at the end of the year, that one has a little interest more for you than anybody.
Yeah, it does, but let's be honest about it. That game has been one-sided the last couple of years. South Range they just don't lose in the NE8. They win, practically it feels like every game. They have that 30+ game winning streak within the conference that they've continued. The last time they lost was just right across the street here at Bo Ryan Stadium, and that was like 2019. So it's been a while since they've lost a conference game. And I remember Coach Yeagley telling me, we're going to be the smallest school in this conference when we join it, Mark. And, they are the smallest school, but they're also dominating that conference since they've joined it.
They are dominating it. And, again, coming off of 2 seasons ago now, it seems like yesterday that Coach Yeagley got his state championship finally, and he ran off into the sunset. And they had a darn good team last year, but they did not accomplish it. That feeds a lot of fire, so to speak. I expect a lot out of the Raiders this year, but I was also pushing. I heard you mention Hubbard on there. Have you heard anything? You have their schedule first before.
Well, yeah, I do. I have their schedule here in front of me.
Why don't we just roll with them next, since I was about to bring them up?
Well, you know what? Let's just talk about a couple games at the top of the season. I, as an alumni, am excited to see Hubbard and Brookfield are getting back together again this year.
Mm-hmm.
They agreed to a 2-year contract, a home and home, 24 at Brookfield, 25 at Hubbard. It'll be game 1 of the season both years. And then, Hubbard had trouble filling their week 2 slot. If you remember, they played Greenville the last 2 years and took both of those games, although they weren't blowouts by any stretch of the imagination. They have added Wilmington to the schedule for week 2 this year, so they'll kind of continue with that Pennsylvania theme. And I think it's interesting for Wilmington, that is their opener. They start the season a week after Ohio does.
Right.
They will play at Hubbard. Then they will play at Struthers the following week. So they're going to cross the border back-to-back weeks, taking on some pretty good programs from our area.
Yeah, they will. And, that bodes well for them. We always talk about strength of schedule when you get to the playoffs. So for them entering the Pennsylvania playoffs after playing, hopefully for them, that the local teams they play have a good year. I know, obviously you being ex-Eagle are hoping a lot happens this year finally for somebody Hubbard that has usually been in the playoffs. So we'll see if Wilmington can make some noise.
Yeah, let me correct myself too. That week 3 game for Struthers, that is at Wilmington on the turf over there.
Okay.
It is not at Struthers. But, it's interesting because one of the things I noticed this year is there's a lot of Ohio PA games this year where teams are crossing the border, and it just, it works out for convenience. The travel, depending on who you are, for Hubbard to go to Wilmington or Greenville, it's not that far of a trip.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like, going to Jefferson or going to Beaver Local, comparable trips like that. But the game that highlights the Ohio-Pennsylvania games this year highlights your alma mater when Ursuline will go on the road to take on Farrell in week 3 of the season. That is September 6th.
Yeah, the last time that they played, I remember it was Jim had called that game, and it was a barn burner. I watched it on TV with Jim and the audio as I watched the video that was available, and I was a nervous wreck. That went literally down to the last seconds of the game. Ursuline won that one. Jim said one of the best and fastest played games he's ever seen.
Oh, I remember I sat at home sick with COVID. That was the first of a few games I missed at the beginning of that season, and Jim filled in for me. And yeah, it was so great to hear Jim say, "Oh yeah, it was one of the greatest games I ever got a chance to call. Thanks." It was like, whatever I can do to help.
Right. That actually also ended up being a first state championship for Coach Pav.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. That was 2 years ago, if I remember right.
Right. Yeah, that was Campdale won the state title that year,
and South Range.
Right. That game was actually the year the Ursuline Farrell game was. I believe that was that year too, and that was one of those great games. I mean, and here's the thing: if you want to talk about it, there were a lot of Thursday night games to start the season off, but there are none better than Walsh Jesuit and Ursuline getting together that first Thursday night. Walsh Jesuit deep run into the playoffs in D2 last year. If you remember, they knocked off Austintown Fitch along the way to get deep into the playoffs. And you and I talk about it every year when we talk about schedules. I mean, you look at Ursuline, Walsh Jesuit, Columbus Bishop Hartley, Farrell, East, Harding, Fitch, St. Vincent St. Mary's, Villa Angela St. Joe, Cheney, and Mooney. 9 of 10 of those, and depending on what East brings back, all of those could be challenges for the Irish this year.
They could be. It could be, you never know. There's been years that Ursuline has played teams that, some of them have gone deep in the playoffs. They've ended seasons where I think the worst record was like 8-2 or 7-3. So we'll see for the regular season. So I have high hopes. For my alma mater. We'll see. I've been told they are extremely hungry from the way that season ended, and that they are going to be ready. Oh, sorry about that, Mark.
We also got to talk about Mineral Ridge. You followed them last year. I was with you for a couple of playoff games.
Well, Mark, we're going to take a quick break. If you could hold that thought. We'll be right back in a couple minutes. If you're listening to Just Football, this is Matt Emch.
Cryptid Creatures. Find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. Hi, it's Brian. Join me and my co-host Todd as we investigate those things that go bump in the night. We'll talk to real people who have had real face-to-face encounters.
There's 2 of them across the creek at the big rocks.
With cryptid beings. From Bigfoot to aliens to even demons. By the end, you'll be asking, do I believe? Cryptid Creatures. Find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you tired of settling for mediocre wings at sky-high prices? Belleria Niles has some of the best wing prices in Trumbull County, with 12 wings for $10 with over 15 flavors to choose from. Mention this show, Just Football with Matt Emch, with your order and receive a free cheese puff until January 31st. Belleria at 602 Robbins Avenue, Niles, Ohio. 330-544-FOOD. That's 330-544-FOOD. Belleria, we sell taste one bite at a time.
Do you crave mysteries? Are you fascinated by the unexplained? Then summon your courage and plunge into the deep, dark abyss of what lurks beneath. A YouTube channel that dives into the unexplained, the supernatural, eyewitness reports, and more. The real question is, can you handle the truth? Simply search What Lurks Beneath on YouTube, if you think you're brave enough.
From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMedia One network.
And welcome back to Just Football. I am your host, Matt Emch. We got Mark Means on the line. Sorry about having to pay the bills there for a second, Mark.
I'm used to it. I understand.
So you were bringing up somebody that also is near and dear to my heart, the Mineral Ridge Rams.
You know what? It's an interesting schedule for them. It's a 6-4 schedule with 6 home games and only 4 road games. And the thing that sets up nice for them is 4 out of the last 5 games for the Rams are at home. And let's be honest, McDonald is the last game like it is every year. Mm-hmm. And that's like a 10-minute trip down the road. So depending on how they travel, which they always do well, it's almost like having another home game. Yeah, it's an interesting schedule. All Friday nights, they open up, head into Pie Valley before coming home for back-to-back games against Orange and St. Thomas Aquinas. Then for the most part, league play kicks in. They go to Jackson Milton, which they'll be playing their home games this year at the new stadium. The one we thought last year was the actual stadium.
Gotcha.
Right. They're going to start playing those. They open up their first game is Jackson Milton hosts Newton Falls. They'll play their home games there on campus. They head to Atwater to take on Waterloo. And then it's 4 straight home games. Lowellville, an October 4th date with Camel for homecoming. Springfield on the 11th. Senior night against Western Reserve, and then they finish up at McDonald's. So it's a favorable 6-4 schedule for the Rams this year.
It is. Coach Shaner is doing a great job, and, they're coming off the best season in school history. They went very deep. If there weren't a couple mistakes in that playoff game, I'm telling you right now, people are, oh, you're being a homer. No, I wasn't. They made a couple mistakes in that playoff game. They would have, in my opinion, if not for one or two little ones, they would have ended up possibly playing for a state championship. Now they would have had to go through Kirtland, but at the very least playing them. And, at full power, the way that they looked last year, no mistakes, they were extremely dangerous. Now, a lot of those seniors, obviously, you got that group of seniors that graduated, but it wasn't a giant group, as you learned, Mark, when we started doing games. They have so many young guys that played last year, and not only played, started, and man, are these kids good coming up.
You know what? Another school I'm really intrigued by this year is Warren Harding, Matt, because, for the first time in a long time, Coach Arnold's not at the helm of the program. You had one of your turning quarterbacks transfer out. So, and of course, they play a loaded schedule every year. They open up with Bookdale. They go to Massillon Perry, come home for a double dose of the Irish 2 weeks in a row. They get St. Vincent, St. Mary's, and then Ursuline in back-to-back weeks at home.
Wow.
If that's not challenging enough, they have to go to Solon. They go to Boardman. They come home for Cardinal Mooney, Massillon, Washington, and then at Fitch. That schedule is loaded for the Raiders.
Not a surprise. You have Coach Arnold that is never afraid to play anybody. They did well in the postseason last year, from what I have been told by Coach Arnold himself. He's really excited about this year. These kids are growing up. And by the way, have you seen that new athletic facility?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Oh my goodness. I can't wait to get a look at that eventually. I expect a lot out of them.
Yeah, it's one of those where if you have the facilities, the district always does a fantastic job taking care of their sports programs up and down. You go to a Harding game and you see, a couple, 2-3 different jerseys. You see the fireworks when they score, when they come on the field. So it's an event when you go to a game at Mullencoff.
It is, and you know what? Coming from a player standpoint and coach, you play better, you coach better when you have nice digs. I.e., what happened with South Range? They were a good program, but they got the brand new stadium and everything. They played even. excuse me. They played even better.
Speaking of nice digs, look at what Austintown Fitch was already a fantastic place to watch or call a game. And now they've been putting a lot of money and upgrading that stadium. They're continuing to do that over the next couple of years. And Coach Parker's got an immense challenge in front of him this year. The last update I got from Mr. Hauser over there at the athletic department, they still had an open date in week 2. We'll have to see if that changes, but they open up with Euclid at home. Have week 2 open. They play Glen Oak at home, and then it's 3 straight road games: Painesville, Riverside, Akron, Bookdale. They play the Griffins on a Saturday afternoon game at 1:00. Then they play Ursuline at YSU. Come home for Massillon Perry. Have to go on the road to Erie McDowell, which is always a challenge at Veterans Stadium up there in Erie, and then finish up with Boardman and Warren Harding. That schedule is loaded too.
Oh, wow. That is definitely a tough schedule. I'm interested to see how they perform. They lost quite a few players over the last 2 years. They're all gone. They got a lot of guys coming up. I'm interested to see if Coach finally starts having a more balanced offense. He is really focused only on the run, barely throwing over the last year. If they get more, even keel, so to speak, I think Fitch could go really deep, but, they have to be a more balanced offense.
It'll be interesting. I mean, you're talking about replacing a 2-year starter at quarterback. So you don't have any experience back.
Exactly.
So it kind of tends for you to back off of that, throwing the ball at least early on in the season to really get comfortable with the rhythm. I mean, let's see, their scrimmages are loaded too. When you look at Austintown Fitch, of course, I closed that they have a tri-scrimmage with Menor and Kenston, and then they scrimmage Walsh Jesuit. So both of those on the road. So those teams are going to get you ready to play week 1. That's no doubt about that.
They really are. It's going to be phenomenal to see. I can't wait for the high school season. I can't wait for semi-pro, Mark. So hopefully, we're going to be calling many games together. Thank you for being here, brother.
You got it.
All right. Have a good day. That was Mark Means, the legend. We're going to go for a break, and we got the coach, Bob Gessler, up next.
Are you tired of settling for mediocre wings at sky-high prices? Belleria Niles has some of the best wing prices in Trumbull County, with 12 wings for $10 with over 15 flavors to choose from. Mention this show, Just Football with Matt Emch, with your order and receive a free cheese puff until January 31st. Belleria at 602 Robbins Avenue, Niles, Ohio. 330-544-FOOD. That's 330-544-FOOD. Belleria, we sell taste one bite at a time.
Do you crave mysteries? Are you fascinated by the unexplained? Then summon your courage and plunge into the deep, dark abyss of what lurks beneath. A YouTube channel that dives into the unexplained, the supernatural, eyewitness reports, and more. The real question is, can you handle the truth? Simply search What Lurks Beneath on YouTube, if you think you're brave enough.
In the Valley, football is king, and the Mahoning Valley Federals are looking to build the 2024 roster with talent forged in this area to compete for a Tri-Point Football League championship. If you're 18 and older and looking to return to the gridiron, call General Manager John Galbraith at 330-540-1099 or visit the team on Facebook at Mahoning Valley Federals Developmental Football. The Mahoning Valley Federals, honoring the football tradition in the Valley. From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMedia One network.
And welcome back to Just Football. I am your host, Matt Emch. We are going to go right back to the lines. We are always busy with the lines here at Just Football. We have the coach, Bob Gessler. Again, we had you 2 weeks on ago. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing fine, Matt. My question to you is, how you doing? A little bump in the road. Everything all right?
You know what? We had it under control. Everything we thought was gone. Last night, I got a little sickish, and it was similar to before what happened. And I had my nurse here, and he changed, the bandages and stuff. And it looks like there's a minor one rolling, like it's trying to restart. Now, I just stopped antibiotics. My feeling was, man, I think I should have had another prescription. They should have kept it rolling.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So they called another one in because I said, you need to do it. I'm not ending back up in the hospital again. So hopefully it will deal with it. Otherwise,
we need you on that microphone here coming up here soon, sir.
Oh, yeah. That's actually what I said to them. I said, you know what? I have an early football season coming. I got the semi-pro coming. You guys, please get this under control. So thankfully, it's still, far enough away. So I believe that they will, and they seemed very, we should have, we should have kept it going. We're sorry about that. Let's jump on it now. So it'll be okay.
Well, we'll pray for your healing as we always do when it comes to the people at Western Reserve Radio. We always we consider you guys, all of us would consider family, and we enjoy being around and doing all these games and having a good time.
Thank you, brother. I feel the same way. You know that. I'm gonna just keep on talking about what me and Mark Means were just talking about. He got the salivation going for me, so to speak.
Yeah, I was listening. I tell you what, I'd hate to say this, but I think there's going to be a change coming with Harding's schedule. Just for the fact that I really think that the new coach is going to say, okay, maybe we ought to back it down just a little bit. Because, again, all the respect for Coach Arnold and what he's done with the program. But there are some times that you got to put a little bit more ease into the schedules to just kind of keep your guys focused and stuff. And you know what I mean as far as that goes.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, and again, they've always done real well with their scheduling and stuff. But I think it's getting to the point where, hey, let's win a few. Let's get in there. It is a
gauntlet. And you and I and everyone else, all of us have every year we're always like, okay, let's see. We know there's like 2 or 3 that will have just the gauntlet. And for the 3rd year in a row, Harding has the number 1, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just, yeesh. I mean, that's a brutal. Well, I mean, there's no break.
No. But you know what? If they can do it, and as I was saying to Mark before we broke, have you seen that athletic facility they've built there?
You know what? I've heard about it. When they actually built the new school and stuff, every glass block window that's in there, I shipped up there, and they use my windows. So I don't know what's in the new facilities because obviously I kind of knocked off the glass block as far as my business. But I mean, I've heard it's second to none. But the other good point to that is it's the alumni. Obviously, Warren's not going to put into it, or they can what they can. But when you got such great alumnus that are up there, and again, I don't know who helps out with it and dips into their pocket. I don't know if the Browner family does it. Mr. Paul Warfield, some of those guys that over the years. Don't know that, but I mean, it's obvious that they really care about their school, and they're doing a magnificent job up there.
It's incredible. I have not either been inside. I'm sure that, once they get things finished, that they will, allow some of the public to see. I'm sure they'll actually set up like things like Fitch has and some other schools that you'll be able to get a weightlifting, what are they give the public the ability to work out. So you get a membership. That's the word I was struggling for. Yeah. And driving by it, Bob, it is absolutely incredible. And being at games there it just sits right at the one end zone, and it's just going to be a beautiful sight for games.
So we're looking at basically another Watch Center. Am I correct in saying?
Yeah. It's incredible.
That's fantastic. We saw about all the other, Maslin and all those guys that have all these facilities and everything, and you wondered, what does it take? So I'm happy that Fitch is going to. I don't even know if they broke ground yet with theirs, because they're supposed to put a big indoor facility too.
Good.
They're supposed to do that. So I'm curious to see if they have done anything there too. But I feel good for those teams, because now you could do a little bit more when it's a little inclement weather. You can go to the inside, and that makes a big difference knowing, because when I was with the Scourge, we had the opportunity to go and practice down there after YSU got off the field at the Watt Center. We were practicing indoors down there with the Scourge, and it was absolutely amazing. It was so good for us.
It is amazing. I wish I would have been, our team would have had it, but we paved the way for that. Sure. Ironic, the coach I had while I was there for that 4-year run of 3 winning national championships and a runner-up, the man who coached us, him and his wife paid for that indoor facility down there. Yeah. I remember when we were playing, and then we'll get back to high school real quick. Yeah. Okay. I remember when we were in the playoffs, winning those games, and we had to, in snowstorms, drive to Kent. They had an indoor facility there, which was very nice. But, I remember us all saying to each other, man, it'd be nice to have one ourselves.
Walk across the street and walk into a field. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, you had your hands I'll never forget the week before the national championship. We were practicing, and I had my hands, down as a lineman, and the snow was so deep that all the way past my knuckles, and we went in to go into our lockers, and of course all the lockers are locked, and I could not open my lock. I actually, because my hands were so frozen, I screamed, it's somebody help. I couldn't get it open. It was, and guys laughed, of course, but I forget who did.
That's good memories. That's stuff that's Iron Man football. Yep. So that's great. Great.
It was great and special. Moving back to high school, some of these teams we know usually always have a great program.
Sure.
You guys usually covered Springfield, but you're going to be covering somebody new this year.
Yeah, we're the Poland Bulldogs this year. I'm kind of glad for that. I wish it would have been a few more years earlier, because my nephew played. He was a defensive back. Dean Gessler did an outstanding job, called all the defenses, all the coverages. Was very proud. Got to see a couple games. I kind of skipped out on the radio station and said, Jim, I just need to go see him play, because I hear how good he is. And I did. I was honored to see him. So yeah, we're going to be at Poland this year. As a matter of fact, Jim and I were just there yesterday at the stands.
Oh, and
because, we call Poland lacrosse.
Oh, wow.
And, we're Jim's got me. He's diversifying me. And I try to do the best I can with that, but it's such a fast-moving game.
Yeah.
So I try to take off of his lead, because there's just, it's like hockey. There's really no break. So when I do get a spot, I'm able to throw something out there. But I'm learning the game myself, because it's a mix of football and hockey, and so it's exciting. It really is. It's exciting.
My nephew, my oldest brother's son, his name's Kenny, Emch. He was part of the 3 children of my older brother that committed heresy in our family and went to Mooney. So that's where, he's a podiatrist. They live out in the Boardman Canfield area, really. They're right in that team from across the rivers. I said their name just to say it.
That's
it's
okay.
Hard to say it. But, he was really good in that sport and did well. So I see who, some of those teams in the area are usually really good. I remember when he played, I think Ursuline and that team from across the river was one team together, and they
combined.
Well.
They combined. And that's when it was first starting out. Poland's going through a little bit of heartache this year. We haven't won a game. I believe it's 0-4. They'll get better. New coach. Talked to him the other day and told him, hey, you know what, coach, you got to do your thing, and keep up the good work. It'll come. It may not be this year, but hey, that's how it goes. It's a new staff, new stuff, and he assured me he really hadn't changed stuff around. And I said, well, it is what it is. So the big thing is Boardman, who's been playing it forever. They face them tomorrow at Boardman Stadium. And this is going to be quite interesting because they're a very good lacrosse team, and they are huge. These guys are big.
Yeah, I've seen some of them.
Football players.
Right, right. And you know what? You're getting in good shape. Coaches love that. You're doing that before the football season, and then you're working on hand-eye coordination, which helps.
You know what? Absolutely. It was funny because that's exactly what Coach was talking to me about. And I said, all the years I coached in all different levels, I would beg the kids to go out. Hey, you want to go run track? Go right ahead. You want to play basketball? Go ahead. Do these things, because you know what? Some coaches, no, I want you in the weight room, but they were in the weight room, and that made them so much better for us. So I didn't care. Play as many as you want. Just don't get burned out.
I agree. We have, I don't know, let's see. We have here, a few minutes, 5 minutes.
Sure.
Going back to high school, I wanted to, since you're going to be covering Poland, the other Coach Pavlansky, which one is that? Is it Mike?
You know what? It's funny because when he was at Lakeview, all we ever called him was Coach Pav. We used to go up there and scrimmage. When I was with Cheney, we go up there and scrimmage those guys.
Yeah.
Because Steve Zielinski at that time was on our staff, who was on our staff years before that. So we would go up there and scrimmage those guys. And to be honest with you, shame on me, but I think Mike was the one at Canfield. I think.
No, okay, yeah, I'm getting them confused. Mike, yeah, and I apologize because I know Coach Pav from Canfield very well.
Sure.
Looking at Poland last year, they had one of the best seasons they've had in years. Oh, by the way, little brother, I think he's the little brother, got big brother, who was a returning state championship, a defending state championship. And then was it you and Jim no, that was Mark who called that game against Struthers. And then they played the following week.
Yeah. I got a tip. My brother David is the freshman coach, one of the assistants there. For Poland, and he kind of fills me in. I call him a couple of times during the season, how's things going, this and that. One thing he did tell me, he goes, Struthers is the real deal. Yeah. He said they will be very good this year. They did not lose much, and they should be deep into the playoffs, according to what he said, barring injury and anything else that happens. But he said that last year was a very, very good football team.
Oh, yeah, it was. And so was Poland. But, you look at Struthers and, you look at Coach Bayek, who finished up with the state championship at JFK, came on over the Struthers to be an assistant for his son. Yep. And they were a little shaky for a couple years there, but man, did they look great last year, and they took care of business with Poland. And, I think they have some special things coming. Looking at, now we have a couple minutes left, looking at some of the other teams, is Cheney playing varsity football?
They are.
What do you think? What do they look like? Have you heard anything?
To be honest with you, there's just been some issues going on within the administration and team. We won't get into that. So right at this point, I don't know if that worked itself out. Hopefully somebody didn't have to step down, made a mistake. And unfortunately, I hope he doesn't pay for it. But again, we won't go into that at this time. But I have really not heard anything about Cheney this year or what's going on. because unfortunately the other stuff that had happened. So things are quite quiet over on the west side. So Matt, I could tell, I do not know. I have no idea.
That's fine, but you know what I always say? It's always the quiet ones that you got to look out for. So
they come up and sneak up behind you and bite you. Yeah, you got that right.
Yeah. So
100%.
Looking at last year and the way that the playoffs ended up, we'll go from that. We got one more minute. Out of all of those teams in the play, who do you think needs to be watched and other teams have to watch out for this year? You could name a couple.
Well, I really think Struthers is going to be one. I'm not sure about Poland. I don't know how many they lost. I couldn't tell you. I think Ursulin's going to come back with a vengeance. I think they have a sour taste in their mouth of what happened. So I got to believe that they're going to, chips on their shoulder. Fitch, we don't know what's going to happen there. I believe they lost that quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong. So there's going to be change. Okay, so there could be some changes there, but they need, again, I think if they were more balanced, that would be a team that you really have to look out for, because if they end up throwing the pill as well as able to run, good Lord, that could be devastating for teams.
I agree. And then I'm going to mention a couple. You got rivals, two of them. You got McDonald. They were huge last year. And Springfield's going to be good. But you got Mineral Ridge, had so many young guys play last year. They're going to be good. Coach Gessler, thanks for being here, brother.
All right, Matt. God bless you. We'll get together again, man. Keep calling.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
We'll be right back.
Experience nature's bounty with Creation's Backyard. Elevate your health with the most nutrient-dense foods on earth. From farm to table, sustainably cultivated with care. Grown locally in Niles, Ohio with no chemicals or synthetics ever. Unlock your culinary creativity with Creation Backyard Microgreens. Convenient local delivery and pickup options available. Order now at creationsbackyard.com or call 330-282-7208.
In the Valley, football is king, and the Mahoning Valley Federals are looking to build the 2024 roster with talent forged in this area to compete for a Tri-Point Football League championship. If you're 18 and older and looking to return to the gridiron, call General Manager John Galbraith at 330-540-1099 or visit the team on Facebook at Mahoning Valley Federals Developmental Football. The Mahoning Valley Federals, honoring the football tradition in the Valley.
SNK, painting your house today. SNK, painting your house
SNK Painting provides exceptional painting and refinishing services to the Mahoning Valley and surrounding communities by being an industry leader in our field, focusing on customer service and delivering extraordinary results. We offer interior and exterior painting, and we specialize in cabinet refinishing with affordable cabinet solution. Call SNK Painting for your free estimate at 330-505-1910.
SNK, painting your house today.
From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMedia One network.
And welcome back to Just Football. I am your host, Matt Emch. We are waiting on our resident hockey specialty man. We have Matt Lipsack, the voice of the Youngstown Phantoms. So whenever he calls, I know this is right around the time that he's feeding the kids and taking care of putting, I think, one of them to sleep. So we'll give him a break. I wanted to thank one of our affiliates. And you know what? My wife actually moved my affiliates list. So I will get that back, and I will. So we'll thank them all at the moment and not be able to point them out, as I apologize, because my wife cleaned my desk and she, quote unquote, did a favor for me, and all of my my affiliates are gone. So keeping it going from what Matthew is hopefully going to finish up. We are looking at a high school football season. I wanted Matt to talk with us about Mineral Ridge. You got two coaches there, head coaches. I want to explain that right. You have Brian Shaner, who is the man, and then you have Chet Allen, who was the head coach of the Liberty Leopards for years and very good. That they have an amazing system going, and they were fabulous last year. As I said, Mineral Ridge had the best season in history that they'd ever had. They made the playoffs. They went deeper to round 3 than they've ever made it. And, they have great things on the line here. And what blew me away, I had the opportunity to call games with different people. I remember going to call be a part of a 3-man crew at Springfield with Jim Craven and Coach Gessler. And we got to watch them there. Everybody was blown away by the young group that Mineral Ridge has, how many freshmen and sophomores started and played and dominated. And then Mark Means was a part of that season. Him and I called multiple games together. And then, of course, Mr. Lipsack, who is fighting to do Youngstown Phantoms game. And then he's helping with high school football. It was his first year as a play-by-play guy, and he did a fabulous job. Something came up, obviously, so I just hit Coach Gessler back up, and hopefully he can come in and join me if he gets his message. I would appreciate it. Otherwise, I'll do it myself. Looking at the Ursuline Irish, obviously my alma mater, they were unceremoniously beaten by Chardon in the playoffs last year. Extremely disappointed, especially, you had a situation where they were beaten the year before in the regional championship, I believe. And that team was Canfield, who won state. Ursuline beat them this year, and they took care of business, got them back. Did they, quote unquote, blow their load, so to speak, on Canfield? Because they played Chardon, who's had a good team, but I did not, and not many other people except for them, their fans, gave them any chance against Ursuline, and they beat them, and they broke their hearts. Ursuline expected a lot more, so they are extremely hungry to get back to it. And, we'll see if the Irish can do it. Coach Dan Reardon doing a great job, and we shall see what the Ursuline Irish get done this year. Also very excited to see what my Penguins do, if they can do some special things. My opinion, Coach Phillips needs to do a little damage himself in the playoffs, get back to, what YSU does. And, we'll see. I think possibly he's on a little bit of a hot seat, and we will, get a great idea YSU. They had their spring game. I did not get to see it, but we'll see what they can do. So I let you guys know I have been waiting for Coach. Or I'm sorry, I called Coach Getzler or texted him to see if he could get back. Something must have came up with Lipper, with Matt Lipsack. I feel bad. I really wanted you guys to get a little bit of the hockey love there with the Youngstown Phantoms. So I'm not real sure where everybody is. So we are going to take a quick break here, everybody, and we will be right back.
Experience nature's bounty with Creation's Backyard. Elevate your health with the most nutrient-dense foods on Earth. From farm to table, sustainably cultivated with care. Grown locally in Niles, Ohio with no chemicals or synthetics ever. Unlock your culinary creativity with Creation Backyard Microgreens. Convenient local delivery and pickup options available. Order now at creationsbackyard.com or call 330-282-7208.
In the Valley, football is king, and the Mahoning Valley Federals are looking to build the 2024 roster with talent forged in this area to compete for a Tri-Point Football League championship. If you're 18 and older and looking to return to the gridiron, call General Manager John Galbraith at 330-540-1099 or visit the team on Facebook at Mahoning Valley Federals Developmental Football. The Mahoning Valley Federals, honoring the football tradition in the Valley.
SNK, painting your house today. SNK, painting your house
SNK Painting provides exceptional painting and refinishing services to the Mahoning Valley and surrounding communities by being an industry leader in our field, focusing on customer service and delivering extraordinary results. We offer interior and exterior painting, and we specialize in cabinet refinishing with affordable cabinet solution. Call SNK Painting for your free estimate at 330-505-1910.
SNK, painting your house today.
From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMedia One network.
And welcome back to Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emch. We're going to get right to the lines. I did find my partner, Matthew Lipsack. How are you, brother?
Oh my gosh, Matt, it's been a night.
Are you okay? I was going to try.
I'm okay. The whole family is okay. There was a cleaning emergency here at the house.
Okay.
You had a small child.
Oh yeah, it's like she was like a tornado. I understand it. I said that on the line. I said that this is dinner time, and so I did paint a little picture. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
No,
I apologize for my tardiness.
Don't apologize, man. You're my brother from another mother. So we have let's see, we have about 4 minutes left. So let's get right to it, Matthew. What is going on with the Youngstown Phantoms?
Well, right now, unfortunately, the Phantoms are the coldest team in the USHL, 3-6-1 in their last 10. And this weekend, they're actually going to kick off a 6-game homestand, the last homestand of the season. We are actually just, 2 short weeks away from the end of the regular season here in the United States Hockey League. Phantoms currently sit in 4th. Second place is within striking distance, but got to string together some W's here with these next 6 games at home, Matt. Phantoms do have the best winning percentage at home in the Eastern Conference, winning, I think it's, or not winning, but a point percentage, I think 74% point percentage at the Covelli Center.
Wow.
This season, once again, just defending Youngstown to the absolute best of their abilities. Madison Capitals coming in this weekend. I think I saw $5 tickets on Saturday with the Easter Bunny coming to town. So you can call the Fam's box office for tickets or more information on that. 330-747-PUCK, 330-747-7825. Finally got Nathan Lewis back in the lineup. He was injured in the preseason upper body injury, very first preseason game. He's got, I think, 5 games under his belt now. And it's been great to see Nate back out on the ice. But the team at large, we hit a little bit of a wobble. We've been playing some very tough competition. This past weekend, played the top 2 teams in the Western Conference. Went 1-3. The one win was a shutout. Aiden Wright recorded his first shutout in the USHL. But unfortunately, let's say I guess it would have been St. Patrick's Day. No luck, the Irish lost 7-3. Went up to Fargo last Friday night, lost 6-1, and then lost a battle on Saturday night, 3-2. Phantoms came within inches twice in the final 30 seconds from tying that game and forcing overtime, but just was not to be last weekend in the rematch between the 2 teams that faced off in the Clark Cup final last year.
Well, first of all, good luck to all of you. You were part of the team. Good luck calling them. Good luck to the team. They do really well in the postseason. Everybody, if you heard Mr. Lipsack, $5 for a ticket at the Cavelli Center. You cannot beat that. Get out there and support the team.
Yeah, that's this Saturday. So again, call that Phantoms box office. Ask for Tyrell. That's extension 4 there at the Phantoms box office. 330-747-PUCK, 330-747-7825. Now, Matt, I know you don't like Tyrell because he's one of those Mooney people, but he's still okay in my book, okay?
That's okay. I will let it slide this time.
Appreciate that.
So, Matt, we got about, let's say, 30 seconds. What do you think? How do you think in 15 seconds about how they have their chance in the postseason?
So right now, I guess it just kind of all depends on the first round matchup. Right now, they have a pretty good if current results hold. They will be hosting a first round series against the Madison Capitals. Madison Capitals, who are coming in this weekend, are 4 points behind the Phantoms. So if Madison gets 2 positive results this weekend, then they and Youngstown are tied with like 5 or 6 games left in the regular season, and you could maybe lose home ice. So don't want to see that. Get out to Youngstown, or get out to the Cavelli Center, support this team. They need it.
Thank you, brother. That was awesome. Always a pleasure. Love you, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Love you, brother.
All right. You're listening to Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emch. Have a great weekend and happy Easter, everyone.
From high school to the pros and everything in between.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the
fine.
most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
I'm getting older. Do I need to worry about falling?
Yes, you do. Each year, 1 in 4 people 65 and older will experience a fall, and many will be serious. The majority of falls happen at home, so remove things that could make you trip and install handrails to keep you steady. To learn more about the steps you can take to help prevent a fall, please talk to your doctor. You can also visit aarpfoundation.org or medicaremadeclear.com/falls. This message was brought to you by United Healthcare and AARP Foundation.
From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMedia One network.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Dr. Ashdown and Dr. Carnivus have been making Happy Feet in the Mahoning Valley for 35 years. Our offices are located in Cortland, Champion, Austintown, Columbiana, and Howland. Our Howland office has relocated to 8601 East Market Street to the top of the hill. Advanced Podiatry offers sports medicine and treatment plans for all ages. You can also request an appointment online by visiting our website at advancedpodiatry.com. Advanced Podiatry, where surgery is always a last resort.
Miss an episode of By All Means, and you could miss a lot.
I have the sound up, and I appreciate the guys that do the work now. But it is with great appreciation I see what the guys do, not only the announcers, but also the players. So we've had wonderful playoffs. I mean, single, double, triple overtime games. It's been fantastic.
By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserveradio.com.
Iowa State by 2, which is basically a pick-em. What do you think?
Illinois should be favored in this game, Rick. This Illinois team is as talented as any team in the country.